Ezekiel Elliott is still a no-show at Cowboys training camp. Jerry Jones said on Friday that the team has the option to find Zeke, but there's no word yet if they'll actually do so. Dak Prescott was asked about Zeke's absence and said, quote, "We know wherever he is, he's doing things the right way. He's probably running the same drills. We're not worried. He is a professional." Shannon, can you see Zeke actually missing regular season games?
Well, I think when you take this approach, Skip, I think you have to be willing to go the distance. You don't start a race if you're not going to be willing to finish the race. But before I go any further, Skip, you see the difference between the way the Dallas Cowboys and their players are handling Zeke's holdout as opposed to Pittsburgh Steelers and how they handle Le'Veon Bell's holdout? Where one team was bashing the guy for trying to get his money, and the other team is like, hey, we know he's putting that work in, so when he comes back, he's going to be ready to go.
This team loves Ezekiel Elliott.
Exactly.
Really
it just goes to show you the difference between the two. I just wanted to iterate that. Skip, for me, is that Zeke understands the only leverage a player has is his ability to hold out. Whether people agree or disagree with it, that's his only leverage, is to withhold his services. Just like teams can withhold that paycheck, or they can release you or move on in a different direction. Zeke says, think about how many touches I put on my body in the first 3 years of my NFL career, Skip. He's led the league in carries 2 of the 3 years, and he's missed games in those years, Skip. He played 15 his rookie year because they had everything sold up. He missed a game last year. They had everything sold up. And he still led the league in carries. Now factor this in. Whether it's their ability, whether they believe that Zeke has gotten better at catching the football or Zeke's worked on his hands, whatever the case may be, now they're throwing him 70-plus passes a season. So he's getting 310. I believe if he starts the season, that number will be at least 310, probably in the 350-ish. Plus you tack on 50, 60, maybe even 70, 80 ball, Skip, you're getting to that danger zone, which is 400-plus touches. And Zeke understands, Skip, you can't, this is not the world you want to live in if you're a running back. This is why a lot of teams have 2 guys, because they know with the kind of pounding that a running back takes in today's game, he can't last like, look, a guy, how Emmett was able to play 15 years, Skip, taking them, because he led the league in carries. Whether or not he had a big offensive line or not, they were still landing on him. They were still hitting that. They didn't get clean shots. Emmett didn't run the contact like Zeke did, Zeke does. Emmett was slippery, sliding, and by the time you realize it, he got 5, 10 yards, he was down, he was taking glancing blows. Zeke understands that his style of running is not conducive for a 10, 12, Emmitt Smith, 15-year Marcus Allen type career. So he understands, I need to get my money now because they're going to put even more and more on my plate as this thing progresses, Skip. I have no problem with what he's doing, and he understands if you take this approach, you got to be willing to miss games, because if you don't miss games, what have you actually accomplished? You just had an extra what, month, 6 weeks of off-season vacation as opposed to coming to camp. You've accomplished absolutely nothing.
Okay. I've told you this before, and I'll tell you this again. Emmitt Smith avoided contact better than any running back I ever watched. Yeah, ever. He had what Norv Turner, then the offensive coordinator, called the greatest quickness in a confined space Norv has ever seen. I'm sure Norv would say that to this day.
Yes.
That means duck and dart behind those elephant offensive linemen, and you couldn't get
You're hitting flush. You're hitting him flush now.
That's why he endured.
Right.
Zeke is the polar opposite of that. And I have sympathy for Ezekiel Elliott because arguably this is going to be his last contract, right?
Yes.
If it's 4 years, could that not be about the closing window?
Especially big dollar contract.
Okay.
Now, he might be playing on a minimum contract.
Maybe. God bless him. I'm knocking on wood for him. But the point is, this is huge for him, just as it was huge for Emmett back in 1993.
Correct.
I was there, covered that team. I was right in the middle of all that because I'd written a book off the 92 Cowboys. So what's the big difference between now and then? Jerry Jones, as a still new fastest gun in the West owner of the Dallas Cowboys with Jimmy Johnson as head coach, had just broken through at least 1 year early and won the Super Bowl.
Correct.
Jerry was feeling himself. He was full of himself, and sometimes he was full of you-know-what, right? And as they hit 1993, he was willing to dig in against an Emmett who he loved. They were very close, just as Zeke and Jerry are very close.
I don't know if he was close. He might be closer to Zeke, Skip.
He probably. Now he's gotten closer to Emmett, but they kind of went to quote-unquote war.
They did,
one, and it got a little personal. But the difference between Zeke and Emmett is Zeke loves being around the fellas. Zeke loves to practice. He does. He loves to play football. He loves to compete. He loves to win football games. Emmett just kind of did what he did. It kind of came fairly naturally. He wasn't a workout warrior. I think Zeke is a workout warrior.
Yeah.
Do you remember when he went to Cabo over the 6-game stretch and came back?
Yeah.
Did he not look sleek and fit?
Yeah, he did, because I remember when he showed up to camp, he didn't look sleek and fit.
He did not look sleek and fit, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so is it possible that he's now in Frisco, Texas, where he lives, just working out, getting ready? Do you think he's starting to miss the fact that he reads on the internet, whatever, he sees the video on whatever, he sees, oh, they're all out there. I'm missing that right now, and I don't have to miss it. Back in 2017, he was forced out for 6 games.
Right.
Now he's not forced out, but these camp days, if you're holding out, they start to drag on, and they get longer and longer, and you start to get itchier and itchier because you love football.
You do.
And you know that your life expectancy is pretty short, so while you want your big contract, potentially your last big one, you also want to be with the guys out there in Oxnard.
You do.
Because it's fun out there.
It is, especially, Skip. I remember in '92, I was holding out because I signed, I was a 7th-round pick, so I only signed a 2-year deal. And I remember my agent called him and said, "Oh, I probably would have showed up early, but the Olympics were going on. I wanted to catch the last little bit of the Olympics." But anyway, and he said, "Well, Shannon, I think if we hold out another 2 or 3 days, I think we can get an extra $50,000 was a lot of money back in 1992, Skip." I was like, "So what are they offering?" He said, $225. I hung the phone up. Skip, I drove to camp the next morning and went to practice. And Dan Reeves asked me, he said, "Shannon, what are you doing here?" I was like, "I'm ready to practice." He said, "But you hadn't signed the contract." That's how anxious I was to get back into it. I had already missed, Skip, but Skip, it didn't.
You wanted to be there that bad.
Skip, it didn't dawn on me until I got older that at any given time my career could have been. Skip, you know what, Skip, when you're young, you don't think anything can happen to you. There's a reason why young guys join the military, because they're not going to be the ones, Skip, anything bad going to happen to. Nobody thinks when you're young, I'm going to live forever. I'm going to play in the NFL as long as I want to. I'm going to have me a career like Tom Brady. You think every receiver that's playing think they're going to play as long as Tom Brady. Every quarterback, every offense, defensive lineman.
Or Larry Fitzgerald.
Yeah.
He's still going.
Yeah, everybody thinks they're going to have that. So you don't really think about it, Skip. It's not until you start to get older, you start to realize, like, man, I left some money on the table. I was very, very foolish. And then maybe if I was a running back, Skip, I would have thought differently.
Interesting.
But to know now the pounding that the running backs take and how you have getting up in the morning. Zeke's, 24 years of age? I guarantee you Zeke's body's achy during the season getting up out of bed, Skip. Wow. 24, 25 carries. No, them holes ain't like you playing college football where they're wide open. Nah, guys hitting you as soon as you get the ball. Skip, he got to get his money. He knows he's never going to get he's never getting another payday like this one.
Okay, so I fixated on something that came out of the mouth of Jason Witten the other day.
Oh, yeah.
This was on Friday, and I got to read this short quote because he summed it up for me, and I agree with the sentiment that he expressed. My experience has been those things, meaning a contract squabble, around here anyway, those things usually work out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Jerry Jones is good at getting those things done. So, to me, I do not believe that Zeke will miss real games. I believe it will get done. At first, you were predicting maybe he'd come in the week before.
Monday before, yeah.
I could see that.
Yeah.
And I would be just fine with that. Now, if you told me he would actually miss the first 2 real games and he would come back and be the regular season MVP and the Super Bowl MVP, which is what happened to Emmitt Smith, I'll take that outcome now.
I bet you would.
Yes, I would.
But let me ask you a question. Do you believe he's going to get his money?
I believe he'll get at Todd Gurley money. He will not get way beyond Todd
Okay,
Gurley.
well, give me $1 more. I'll take $1 more, because that used to be the going sentiment, Skip. A wide receiver signed, and then Jerry was signed, and my brother said, I need to make $1 more than Jerry. Really? And then Michael Irvin said, I need to make $1 more than Sterling Sharp. And the next guy.
Okay, but remember, they're trying to reset the bar.
Yeah.
I don't know what they want, but maybe they want 50 guaranteed, and they want, you know, up to...
Man, they ain't getting no running back, no $50 million guarantee.
Well, that's what they're asking for.
Nah, you might 30. He might get 30 fully guaranteed.
I don't know. Didn't Todd get 45?
Yeah, way more than
Todd
30.
Gurley? Yeah.
Skip, when I say fully guaranteed, I ain't talking about no roster bonus, because they can cut you before the start of the league year, March 1st or March 9th, and you don't get that. I'm talking about when I sign my name, Jenny, they cut me, well, you know, they don't really cut the check, but they direct deposit $30 million.
Okay, just remember, Todd Gurley got 45 guaranteed, and Le'Veon then got 31.9 guaranteed. So he got way less guaranteed, right?
But see, the thing is, Skip, like, here's the thing. When you see a guy says, okay, he signs a 4-year extension, he gets 4 years plus the 2 years left on that contract. So whatever the 2 years left plus what he got. So if Zeke signs for, let's just say he gets a 3-year extension for $55 million with $40 million guaranteed. Well, he still has 2 years left at $13 million. So in other words, it's about to be a 6-year deal or a 5 or 6 year deal for $65, $66 million. They just don't wipe away those last 2 years on the contract and give you 3 more years. They add on. So Zeke is like, okay, look, whatever. All I need to know is that how much money am I going to fully get? I'm not talking about no roster bonus, because y'all, I know how y'all operate. Y'all have messed around and cut me before the league New Year start, and I ain't on the roster. So no, I ain't doing that. I want money in my so give me, you know what, Skip? How much Le'Veon get?
Guaranteed?
Guaranteed, 31.9.
31.9.
And Todd got how much?
45.
Well, get to he said, I want $45 million and $1.
And you think that's going to be something they can pull off?
$45 million and $1, Jared, I'm there. You got that?
Ballpark, but not that high.
Just match it. That's all you can do, because it's completely out of bounds already.
I need $1 more, Skip.
And just remember, the way Zeke is made up psychologically, he's much more likely to, quote-unquote, cave in earlier than Emmett was, because Emmett did not like to practice. He did not like to work out hard, and he had already won a Super Bowl ring the year before.
Right.
So you already have that established.
And I think, if I'm not mistaken, Emmett had led the league in rushing that year.
I believe he did.
So Zeke's like, whoa, wait a minute, Jerry. I'm 2 for 3. It would have been 3 for 3. I need you to break bread, because you're telling me, you know, you can't really trust me. But you hadn't cut me, and I'm still acting a fool. So you can trust me on a little bit of money, but you can't trust me with a lot of bit of money. I need mine, Jerry. I need to go in and break bread.
It's interesting what you said, though, about how his teammates are handling the situation. But I do want to point out, this is so early on. And it felt like with the Steelers, it was as it continued.
No, it was early on.
It was that quick?
Yeah.
I feel like it just got bad.
We had the conversation about Ramon Foster, and they was just going to camp.
It's a different kind of respect that we're seeing from his teammates, which I think
get that money.
To point out.
Stacey, don't let him go. Don't let him go. Don't let him go to camp, Stacey.
All right, guys.
Mama Zeke, don't let him do it.
LeBron has been busy filming Space Jam 2, and Shannon's all over it. But why is he taking over his son's games? This is interesting.
Put your hands down.
We'll tell you about it next.
You know what he's doing.